sorry about that. We have some technical issues that the sound is somehow not coming in from the conferencing into OBS, which, by the way, is like where I capture this program. So the problem is that if it's the case, and we can't have Lais here with us, unfortunately, because you will see her face but not her voice. So which is not something that I really wanted to happen, but it happened anyway. So sorry about that. And so yeah, so you just have to have me today only. Sorry about that. But we would see why it's changed, because like it was working before, and maybe my black hole somehow or my headset is changed. So I will just go ahead and share my screen in a bit to show you about the news today, and then we'll have the interview with Tanya. And at the end, I would, there will be some recommendation of the Python libraries from us. I'm just trying to cover what Lais was trying to say as well. So she prepared something, but unfortunately, like I said again, technical issues, can't capture her voice through the meeting. So I have to do it without her. I missed her. And say hi in the chat, Lais. I hope you're there. And yeah, so I would just go to share my screen now, so you will see what I'm trying to talk about today. So 1 second to go back to my meeting and share my screen. And yep, applications. Okay. So first of all, and yeah, you can still see my face here. Sorry. So first of all, we have this Python Web Conf. It's gonna be cool because uh, I think it's gonna be all the Python web framework that's gonna be related. So it's in June 17th to 19th. And let me see, like, is the CFP still open? Because I haven't checked it yet. They do have a speaker here. Yeah, they do have a speaker lineup, so it's quite cool stuff. And yeah, I think, yeah, you can still get a ticket now. And it's quite rare. I rarely see like a web conference just for Python. So this is very nice. And yeah, check that out. And I think they have schedule as well. Yes. Yeah, it's out already. So yeah, introduction to Django. So if you are interested in using Python to develop web, anything about web, so please check that out. And they have the ticket. And well, it's not cheap, but if your company can sponsor you, I don't think that will be a problem. Just check it out. Give it, have a look, see if you want to join. And so the second thing that I got to talk about is gonna be the PyCon DE. So we have this sad news that PyCon DE is decided to be, skip this year. So they will be back. Same in Berlin next year. So it's just kind of leap over a year. Is fair. I think it's a right decision, because like even though we are releasing now, hey, Lais is on Twitch, yay! So say hi to Lais. Yeah. So yeah, even though that we have now releasing the social distancing, but I think having I think last year there was like more than 1,000 people in the conference. So having that many people in the conference is still quite risky. So I think it's the right decision, and I hope we will have more conferences online that we can still kind of e-meet each other. And oh, this is why is it here? I think I put the wrong link. Just 1 second. Check. Yeah, it should be PyCon Africa. Let me quickly fix that. I think I put the wrong link, so sorry about that. And here, yep. So PyCon Africa, they got this like really cool, cool website here that this year, PyCon Africa is going online. And yeah, it's in August. Yeah, online. So if you have never been to a PyCon Africa, I think this is a really good chance for you to go, even though you're not like physically going to Africa. But they got really cool stuff. The CFP is still open. It's open till the 5th of June. So please, I have been to PyCon Namibia. It's amazing. I was planning to go to PyCon Africa this year, but now it's online, so I'll just do it online then. Yeah. I think it was really cool last year. I see some like footage of them dancing in the conference, which is quite rare, and it just sounds like lots of fun. So please give it a try. And yeah, I think they're still looking for speakers, so there isn't many details out yet, but you can always check back to this website. Okay, so the news is that Scikit-learn has a new release, is a bug fix release, and the K-mean will be faster. All the details is in this thread, in this tweet, and also they have a log of what have been changed. So if you're a Scikit-learn user, good news for you. Check that out. And yeah, it's on the documentation website. So it's on the official website. You will be able to find this version 0.23.1 is a new release. And also, Paul, one of the co-developer of CPython, and released this TC data package. So in case you don't know, Paul has been working on the DateUtil. He's been maintaining DateUtil for a long time. I've met him because I was contributing to DateUtil, so he bring me to that. And yeah, so this is really cool. It's like very knowledgeable in all these kind of way of dealing with time zones and how to pass time and all this stuff. So this is really cool. So yeah, and give him support and check this out. Check this TC data package. Give it a try, have a look, and yeah, it's also solve some issues in Windows. So if you're Windows users, then maybe that would be a better choice for you. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to the interview with Tanya that I gotta play in a bit. So sorry, it's like a bit short because usually I would just chat with Lais here, and now it's just you know different. So yeah, I gotta switch it to the recorded interview, and I'll see you after the interview. And please comment on the chat. I'll be on the chat. So yeah. So hello, thank you so much for coming in, Tanya. So it's so exciting to do this interview with you because we kind of know each other for 1 year to a year. Really can't remember when.
Can't remember it.
Yeah, maybe PyCon UK or even before that, because I remember I went to Manchester for one of your event, for the open source, and yeah, it's a long time, and Tanya, for the viewers, she is a PSF fellow. So you can actually look it up. What does that mean? Actually, I don't know what it means. I just it may like for me it just means that people contribute a lot to the Python community. And so maybe I will let you introduce yourself and let us know a little bit more about yourself and what you do for the community, what's your work, and all this stuff.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Tania, and I work as a senior developer advocate in Microsoft. And every time I tell people that I'm a developer advocate, they're like, "So what do you actually do? Do you go to conferences?" But there are no conferences now because of the COVID. But really, my work is a lot about helping other developers and the communities to do their work better, to be more efficient, or just work with our engineering teams to develop tools to help them, to help all the developers out there. Yeah, I'm also a PSF fellow. I don't know how I came to be a PSF fellow, really. A very nice soul or a very nice person nominated me, and the chairs decided that I had done enough. So yes, I sometimes feel like an imposter because there is so many cool people that are fellows as well. Apart from that, I do spend a lot of time doing things for open source, diversity in open source, and I have a background in research, so I still do a lot of work with research institutions and people that work in academia and such.
But how come like you from it sounds like a different thing, right? Researcher and developer advocate. Like how could you like go from there to there?
Yeah, I know they seem like very different things. So I think it all started when I was doing my PhD. I kind of realized that academia was not what I was expecting. I had a very different idea of how academia worked. And then as I was, yeah, probably halfway through my PhD, I started questioning a lot whether I wanted to become a professor or a lecturer. And I suddenly discovered that there was this new career called research software engineers. And like, oh, okay, so what do these people do? They develop code, they try to make research more robust, more reproducible. And it's like, oh, yeah, those are all the things that I care about. Those are the things that I would like to do. So after finishing my PhD, I started becoming a research software engineer, and I started doing a lot of things for the community. I was also very new into the Python community, so I got very excited and started doing things always on the side. So I always had my job and then running meetups, going to meetups, helping people, organizing stuff. Um, and naturally, I was spending so much time doing community stuff, going to conferences, creating content. Um, that when I found that you could do both technical and all of these community things as one role in DevRel, that was like, oh, that's my dream job. That is something that I would love to do. Um, and I was just lucky enough that I actually came across the team at Microsoft, and they were hiring in the UK, and I didn't have to relocate to to London from Manchester. So it all worked out perfectly.
Yeah, it sounds great because like when I met you, you're already very engaged in the community. So I think this is just perfectly like suitable. And but I know that a lot of people will be like, oh, developer advocate, I see them everywhere in conferences. Do they just go to conferences? And people just don't understand. I'm also developer advocate, but right now I'm like I am a content creator at the same time. But yeah, so what about like is it okay to talk about your roles in Microsoft? Like, what do you do? And like, if people meet you in a conference, maybe afterwards, like when we go to conference again, then like, what can people talk to you about? Like, you know, yeah.
Oh well, yeah. So I think going to conferences and going to public events like meetups are it's the smallest portion of my work, but somehow it's a very visible part of my work. Um, but whenever I go, it's normally because I either have a talk or a workshop, or I'm organizing something or organizing the conference. Um, so if people just find me in conferences, I'm just another awkward random nerd walking there. So people can just talk to me about anything. It doesn't have to really be Microsoft or Azure related, but about programming language. Something that I'm very, very interested in, especially because of my role, is understanding what the community is doing, like what are the trends, the tools that people are using, and especially which are the barriers or blockers that the community are facing. So I can better help them and then just better go to the engineering teams and say, hey, this is what folks are struggling with, whether they're using our products or not, and then find ways to work together to help the community. So I'm always very open to talk to people about what they're doing, um, like also how they came to the community. Yeah, and beer, craft beer.
Yes,
Just like
actually, yeah, it's a ritual that like every time I see Tanya in a conference, we'll be like, okay, afterwards, where do we go for beer?
yeah,
We both
yeah.
have a passion about beer, so yeah, that's a
So
good thing
yeah.
to yeah
Yeah, as I
share.
said, like public speaking is just one tiny part of my role. We're also very heavily involved in content creation, and we have a lot of flexibility in what that content is. Some people are very, very good at doing streaming and recording videos or podcasts, and some others are very, very good at writing tutorials or workshops or articles and such. So I tend to do a mixture of everything, but I'm definitely much more onto the written side of things. Um, and very recently, I started exploring a lot about visualizing technical concepts. So I really like designing stuff. So I'm going to be spending more time doing that. And then the final part of my job is engineering. It's engineering work like any other software engineer, working on different tools, technologies, either open source or part of Microsoft, and the usual go do some dry run or dogfooding, open issues, discuss, send PRs, update documentation. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see you have a passion for open source because, like I said before, I've went to Manchester, so you have an event there that encourage people to contribute to open source. So, yeah, why do you think it's important to have open source? Because I had this conversation with some people that they said, oh, open source just mean that it's free. Is it the case, or do you have other
Yeah,
kind of?
no. I'm going to say that I fundamentally disagree with
Yeah.
that. Yeah, of course, I think it's very easy to say that, oh, well, open source equals free, but not, yeah, probably you're not paying to install Pandas or Python or R in your computer, but someone is spending time and love and effort doing that, right? So it's not free for them, it's not free for everyone. Um, and what I like originally from the whole open source movement and the whole open source process of thought is that it is something developed by the community for the community. So it's a lot about the people, and that ties a lot about with the vision that I have for technology or programming. You don't write code for a computer, right? That the computer is your tool. You're writing code for people, like to make their lives easier or to help them to do their job better or fight pandemics or things of the such. So the ultimate goal is always people, um, or helping people, and that's why I am so interested in open source. Um, and back, like, I don't know, probably 15, 20 years ago, most of the companies would have their proprietary software and pay for, like, I don't know, their developers, and they would only use whatever they built in house. But now everything runs on open source. Everything, like all the machine learning that happens in the world, all the fantastic machine learning powered everything runs on open source. Um, and I think a lot of people are taking it just for granted because of this free label. Um, and it always comes at a big expense to somebody else's. Um, so one of the reasons why I advocate so much for contributing is to raise a bit of awareness on this unseen labor, and try to get back, because I think open source has given me much more than what I've actually given back. And yeah, I would just like to say that I've given as much as I've taken, but I think that is just like unattainable.
Yeah, I can totally feel that because like my previous companies, they use like some of them actually are traditional companies, a bank and something like that. But they also started to think about using Python, like using this open source tool. But I think the challenge is that like, well, you can actually do personal contribution, like like us, that we engage with the community and do stuff with it. But like some people, maybe they have families, it's not easy for them, so maybe they would think about whether they could
Yeah.
like ask the company to maybe sponsor, or so like what advice you could give those people, like how can they approach their manager, because like not all companies are like big and
Yeah.
resourceful and very insightful as well. So any advice?
Yeah, it's really, really hard because also for you to be able to be an individual contributor to open source, you need to have the time and the willingness and the mental capacity. And, also as your life circumstances change a lot. Um, but also something that I've noticed is that it's very hard to convince your manager or your company to give back to open source if the company was not founded on an open source support mentality. Can be very, very problematic. So I don't know, probably if your company, it's very weird, it's a trick way. Um, if you have personal development time, or they can institute a personal development time where folks can actually contribute to a library. So if you're using Python and you find a critical bug that is preventing you from doing your work, and you have the capacity to fix it, probably they should give you a few hours to actually contribute to fix. But also there are initiatives like Tidelift, where you can actually, or Unknown Focus, where you can actually make a donation or pay some money, and then they make sure that that money actually reaches the maintainers and the contributors of the open source project. So then that would also be a good idea to have. Some companies have donate, like volunteer or donation funds. So if you can take a couple of days of volunteering, you can probably use that to volunteer to open source. Or if they have contributions like in money, sometimes they will match it or add extra money. Choose your favorite open source project, or the PSF, or Tidelift.
Yeah.
It sounds like commercial, but I like it.
Yes, and yeah, if you're using it every day, you better contribute and make sure that it's still maintained and well. And so I think we got to change the topic a little bit about conferences and inclusion, because I know that you're a conference organizer, and also you have been to so many conferences, because I see you everywhere. So what do you think? Because I know that some conference, like in tech world, right, some conference, they are more inclusive, and they make sure that everybody is safe and welcome. But some conference, this is not what they emphasize on. So do you spot any difference, and what these measures can change actually how a conference dynamic, like how things work in a conference?
Yeah, I think everything ties back to the circle of the community, right, and the people. There are some conferences, and I see on a lot of programmers or developers that say, "Oh, well, yeah, there is no merit. Like everything is based on merit, right? So if you are a good programmer, then your code is good and it gets merged. Or if you're a good speaker or a good programmer or in the community, you're going to be invited to conferences. So why should we do extra effort to get a diverse representation?" But that is a fallacy of meritocracy, because not everybody has the same opportunities. Not everybody has the same chances to get to the same place, because that's how the world works, unfortunately. So the opportunities that you are encountering, or the obstacles that you're encountering in your life, prevents you from having everyone the same opportunity and the same experience in life. So I think recently, or over the last few years, I've seen a lot of conferences saying, "Oh yeah, we want to increase the number of women. How do we do it?" I'm like, well, why do you focus so much on that single dimension of diversity? Why don't you just say, well, we want to make the whole experience more diverse and safer? And it turns out, because for a lot of people, because there has been so much talk in the tech world about diversity, for them is now a checkbox exercise. And you can tell, because you can tell from those conferences that really care at heart, that they go above and beyond. They think about, like, let's say if I want more women or more X community or more X Y people in my conference, it's not, well, I just want them to come here and experience, but they question themselves, why is it these people are not showing up, and what I can do for them to feel like they belong and feel like they're safe and welcome. And that's a completely different mindset. And I think those conferences or events that have that mentality at heart, of saying, what can I do? What am I offering or not offering to these people so that they come to my event? They are usually the ones that do best, and they're community and people focused. And as I said, they always go the extra mile. Some of my favorite conferences, like PyCon US, PyCon UK, they do this very, very well. They think about all the dimensions of diversity. MOSFETs as well, they're really, really good at this. How you can bring all the voices and amplify those that are traditionally not amplified. And I think there's still a lot to learn, especially now that we're moving into more online spaces. Yeah, the rules have changed again. Again.
Yeah, I can see that because like I have been to some online conference and online meetups, so there's something that you don't have to worry because people are not physically in a space, but there's something that you have to worry because there are more people that you don't know that
Yeah.
well coming into this online space, and they could do whatever they want. So yeah.
Yeah, but then again, like no, because everyone is at home, right? There is a family and the kids, and you have to care responsibilities. So although it might seem to a certain extent that it's easier for everyone to join to an online conference, it really isn't, because now you have kids that are not at school or are not at their friends, or I don't know, with you can't get a babysitter, so you have to take care of that, regardless of who you are or your age or your gender. Um, so we have to better understand again how we can support the community, now that everything has changed, like the whole social dynamics have changed again.
That's so true. I really appreciate like online conferences that offer speaker to record the talk, because not everyone could be available at that time. I think that's a good point. And like any advice to any conference that maybe like this is new, right, online thing, but like for before, when like traditional conferences, anything you think is a must have, that if they just started, this is what they should do, and then plus other things,
Yeah.
like what you think that is good to have, that you think that you want to try implemented them in one of your conferences. And yeah.
I think, well, the most basic and one of the most impactful things that you can do is have a code of conduct, but not just having a code of conduct, but having actually enforcement guidelines, having a way for those people that are in your code of conduct committee or your conference committee to actually enforce it, and also have a public set of guidelines or procedures on how people can report misconduct and how decisions are made. Because having a code of conduct and having one without disenforcing guidelines and reporting guidelines is just as bad. Um, and also, I think a lot of people think, oh, I'm going to put the code of conduct and hope that nothing happens, because I don't want to have these difficult conversations and have this difficult, like make these difficult decisions and have to ban someone from my community. But you always have to be prepared for it to happen, because if you're wishing that it doesn't, and if it does happen at your event, um, you're probably not going to be able to protect those that are being the most impacted. So I think that is the most like the one thing that has to be there. And then also ability, I think just having very, very clearly guidelines on what behaviors are expected and not acceptable. Especially when you're having people coming from all over the world, from different cultures, from different backgrounds, you have to set the tone for certain interactions, be very clear. What else? And accessibility. I think accessibility sometimes tends to get a bit overseen, but that also plays a massive part for inclusion in your conference. I've been to certain conferences that have been really, really good, very diverse. The support for speakers is amazing, but for you to go from one conference room to the other, you have to go down staircase, or you have to walk a lot, or there is not a podium or raised, a raised place for speakers, or even you have to go into a podium, but the only way to get there is stairs. So what happens if someone has mobility issues or any other sort of stuff? So also have a look at what you can do not only from diversity and inclusion, not only from diversity and apparent inclusion, but also on the accessibility side of your whole conference.
Yeah. Anything you want to try, maybe for an online conference, or anything that we should have? Maybe like now it's online conference, so maybe something that we should try, like to make it as accessible and
I have
inclusive.
no idea how you actually. Well, it's very hard because when you go to an to an in-person conference, you can have closed caption, and you also have the face-to-face interaction when you're talking to people, so you get a lot more context. You can sort out closed captions with a lot of software now, but you're missing a lot of the people interaction, the human interaction. So I believe that for those that are not as vocal or as loud as others, online conferences can be very, very tough because there is no physical way to be included. So I would like to see more efforts. I have no solution for this.
Yeah.
I would like to see more efforts on bringing this in-person experience and like bringing everyone more into the experience and the interactions.
Yeah, because we have this online workshop, and we have this Jupyter notebook that's prepared and give to our participant to learn, and it was like a report back by a mentor that one of the person in his group is dyslexic, like he have problem reading so many
Mhm.
things and got overwhelmed. So kind of like, yeah, we are still learning. It's like we never thought that, oh, that could be an issue. And I think, yeah, we have to put a lot of effort in this new setup
Yeah.
environment.
Yeah, because also like when you're giving a workshop in person, you have all of the physical feedback, right? So you can see if someone is really struggling and probably they're not telling you, you can still infer that from, how they're speaking, how they're looking, how they're doing stuff. But in a completely online context, especially when you don't have cameras or you have a lot of people and something like Zoom, it becomes so hard to include everyone or make everyone feel included.
Yeah, so I think one last thing that I want to ask is that, because I know now all your schedule has changed, but any new plans? Like, when can we see you or your talks? And are you working hard on some other organization things?
Well, so I am working on the mentoring sprints that is going to happen this weekend. So it's going to be late for when this is out. So the 17th of May, we're moving it from PyChat onto online. Um, I've been wanting to start the podcast project, but I've been really busy. So in my next couple of months, that is something that I really, really want to get out. Um, and luckily, I've received a lot of advice from other folks in our community that are already running their podcasts. So that's much appreciated. And as I said, something that I've been dipping my toes a lot is into creating visual vocabularies or visuals explaining complex tech concepts. So I'm going to be doing a lot of that, and mainly I want to do that around machine learning to to make it easier and more approachable for those people that are not tech savvy or data savvy, to actually grasp the concepts of machine learning, and especially focus on data privacy, what is important that all machine learning is done ethically, and why we should care about our data as data citizens. Um, Especially now that there is so much debate about tracing apps.
Yes, that's something that we have to be very, very careful of, because the government can say like, oh, hey, it's like for the community, but actually they kind of neglect the other aspect of the community, is the privacy. So
Yeah.
yeah. So I think that's more or less this interview, and thank you so much, Tanya. And maybe I would share your Twitter and in the description when this is when live, so people maybe people can, reach you like on Twitter, and then maybe people can, also see what you're up to recently on your Twitter as well. So yeah, thank you so much, and hope to see you in person very soon, actually. Um,
I
yeah,
know.
and we need to drink some beer as well, like this summer, and it's the perfect time to do that. So yeah,
And we've had some really nice weather over the last few days, so it's an absolute shame that we
yeah.
can't go out.
But well, stay safe, and yeah, and then we would speak soon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you. And thank you for interviewing me.
yeah. Bye bye. Oh, hello. So you can hear me, but somehow you can't see me. Let me see if I can fix that. This is super weird. My computer is super weird recently. It's just yeah, it just don't agree on me for a lot of things. Sorry, give me 1 second, and just let me see if I can fix it. Right. And yep. Yeah, this setup is not okay. So you have to live without seeing my face now. Sorry about that. So yeah, so this is what we gotta show you for the libraries that we're gonna recommend today. So this one is actually Lais found it out. So this one is actually a automation tool for browser, and you can see that it's designed to be very lightweight. It's called Helium. So you can see that that you can just write some very simple script that could automate a lot of things with your browser. So I think this could be very, very useful. And yeah, it's going to be very, very useful. Lais is here. You can ask her a question. She find this out. And yeah, like I think that if you are like, for example, buying some tickets or something, you have to, queue up and fight with other people online to click some buttons, and then because you have Python on your side, this will really help you out. And yeah, so use it with with caution, because sometimes some websites doesn't like you do things automatically, so be careful. But I think it is a very handy tool that is very useful. And the other thing that I want to talk about is hypothesis. So some of you may already know hypothesis, and it's quite small here in the screen. Actually, I can see it, so I make it bigger. So hypothesis, is a testing suite that is, do property-based testing. So it kind of, compared to parameterize that, hypothesis would, generate your test examples in, in a more like it's cover more cases than you want, and it's kind of super powerful because of that. And it got like a lot of strategies that, is gonna be very easy to use, because for example if you want to test some integers, right, and then you just need to put strategy dot integers, and if you have a range, put in the range, and it's gonna be quite easy, rather than you just like have to find your own. I can't find that page. I can't find the strategy page. Yeah, their docs is a bit to be honest difficult to read, but yeah, because it's got a lot of the hierarchy is very complex. But yeah, but like you can put the strategy there rather than you try to figure it out like what integer you gotta use. So it's kind of neat. I was using it for a bit and starting to like it. I still can't show you the page. Maybe I can show you the basic example. Quick start guide, yes, an example. Yeah, so you can just like use all these decorators and given, and then you have a text, and then it will just like generate some text for you for testing. And yeah, and you can use a lot of different strategies. You got a huge library of strategy you could use. I really wish that I could show you that page, but I don't know where do they put it. So yeah, I was looking at it like a lot, but like somehow I lost it. I think it's like if it's in my history, then I can show you. Um, yeah, this page. I can't find it from that hierarchy, but yeah, you can see that it got a lot of different strategies that you could use. It could be a data object, a binary, booleans, and so far and so forth. And you can even make your own composite strategy, so it's quite neat. Give that a try if you have, especially I think it's quite useful in data science project because like you have different, data that it may be the input of your function. So this is actually very useful in that way. Rather than you kind of think about, oh my god, how can I test it? I have so many inputs. You just use these hypothesis strategies. For example, like I said, integer. You just put in like, if it's just leave it as integer, we just assume it's any integer. But if you can put in a range if you need to. So yeah, so it's pretty good. And so sorry, we have a lot of technical difficulties today. And yeah, so it's kind of a bit shorter than we would love to because I miss Lais. She's not here. I can't capture the voice from the conferencing, and actually now I can't even capture the screen of the conferencing. So yeah, sorry about that, and we would fix it before next time, and we'll sort it out. So yeah, and stay safe, and I will see you maybe on the tutorials before next week. So see you. Bye.